Hello. How are we doing today?
Hello there.
I think I turned you down by accident, Josh. Let me turn you back up a bit.
That's all right.
Okay, should be good. All right, let's cut this music out. We see a couple people in the chat already. I see 2med2. What am I using to stream? Streamlabs OBS. And Rural Farm Boys there. Welcome, everyone.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you for joining us today. We have an exciting
Indeed.
show.
Yeah, indeed. We'll give it a minute or two here. We'll just chat and we'll see if anybody else rolls in before we get going.
Sounds good.
So, yeah, 2med2. It's Streamlabs OBS, which is an offshoot of OBS. So yeah, that is it. All right. Switch that up to multi-stream so I can see everything.
Trying to
And
pull up YouTube here.
okay. All right. Let me know when you're ready. I think we can go ahead and kick off. Start recording
Okay.
first. Okay. I remembered to hit record this week, so we're good.
That's good.
Step ahead.
Yeah, for some reason, like it's not coming up on my subscription list. There we go. I think I got it.
Okay, cool. I can send you the link if you want it.
No, I got it.
I.
Okay. Yes. Oh, I gotta mute this. I heard what we said a minute ago.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm good to go.
All right. Let's we'll go ahead and start the intro and we can head right in if you're ready.
I'm ready to go. Hello there, and welcome to episode 25 of the From a Certain Point of View podcast. We have a very exciting show for you today. I am Josh,
I'm Adam.
and yeah, again, we're really excited to be here talking Star Wars this afternoon. If you're joining us in the live chat, whether it's on YouTube or we live on Facebook as well,
Yeah.
Adam,
Yeah, we're live on
um,
both.
we're really appreciative of that. And if you're listening to
Absolutely.
this a little bit later in the podcast version, thank you so much. And Adam, what have you been up to this week?
Not a whole lot in Star Wars. It's been a weird week for me, but I did watch Clone Wars a couple times yesterday. I read a little bit more of Poe Dameron, the comic series, and that's probably about it. Did a little other little tiny things here and there, but that's mainly the Star Wars stuff that I did this week. How about you?
Well, this week I did a lot of animated Star Wars. I
Okay, cool.
finally finished Resistance. I needed to watch like the last three episodes, and I really enjoyed it. I thought the last three episodes were some of the best of the entire series. There were
Nice.
some great like classic dogfight sequences in there that were really cool. There was some great action against the First Order. There was even a redemption story in there, which you got to love in Star Wars, and
It's my favorite
you
kind.
know, yeah, just a lot of good stuff. And as always, the show is just beautiful visually, especially on Disney Plus
Hmm.
and everything. It just looks great. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then I also continued my watch of Clone Wars season 5. I'm about halfway through the season at this point,
Okay.
and last night watched the newest episode of the Clone Wars, and then I got up this morning and I was like, Brittany, you got to watch this with me. And Sydney watched it too. And so I watched it a second time this morning,
Hmm.
and Sydney was like, "Oh, I really like that girl." I'm like, "That's Ahsoka," and she's like, "Oh, I love Ahsoka," and I'm like, "Me too." so, um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
raising
that's
her
what's been
right.
going
I
on.
like to hear it.
Yeah.
She knows what's good.
So what's coming up on? Oh, we have poll
Yeah, we
results.
have a big poll.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had a great response on the poll this week. Let me pull
Yeah,
that up. And
our
we
best ever.
had, yeah, it was. I mean, we had, man, what was it? Over 107 votes. And the poll question was, if you had to choose, what is your preferred viewing order of the Star Wars
Hmm.
films?
Yep.
And
Yeah, last
50
week
poll.
we talked about that last
Yeah,
week.
we
So
talked.
yep.
Yeah, I always like to tie our poll question
Yeah.
into
Right. Right.
something that we talked about on the previous show. And 54% of the vote went to chronological order, which was also the winning answer. 38% was release order, and then 8% was machete order.
Okay.
So, what are your thoughts on these poll results this week, Adam?
Um, I wasn't too surprised. I think that's about right.
Yeah.
It feels about right to me.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I mean, I went with release order in my vote, just
okay.
thinking about, like, especially if I'm showing this to somebody for the first time,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and everything, which we talked about,
Right.
and then I would probably go chronological order after that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
answered it
came,
from me. So for me, I definitely go chronological. So
yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much if
yep.
you're listening and you voted and participated in the poll. That was very encouraging. And Adam's going to tell us what's coming up on today's show.
Yeah. Actually, kind of out of nowhere, we got a lot of news this week, and so we have a good half a dozen news stories at least to talk about here. We have an awesome episode of Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Episode 9 was pretty special,
amazing.
and we're gonna revisit Rogue One. There was a little bit of discussion around Rogue One this week, so we're gonna kind of look back at some production aspects of Rogue One, where it started, and where it ended up. So that's the show this week. Once again, we are live on YouTube, but thanks for everyone for hanging out. I see Roar Farm Boy and 2Med2 Star Wars Network in there, so that's awesome. If you're in chat, make sure you say hi so we can get your name on the show there. But yeah, are you ready to jump into news?
Yeah, let's dive into our heavy news segment.
All right, like I said, lots of news this week, so we're gonna start off uh, by reminding you that we're now affiliated with farfarawaynews.com. So pretty much all of these, except for one little oddball story at the end, comes from farfarawaynews.com. A great website for pretty much everything. There's some pretty neat merch, and they're updating some merch today, almost as we speak, actually. So you can get some pretty cool far away gear, but they also have tons of news and stories, and we'll get into. I wrote my first one this week, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first up,
Yes, yes. I am now following Far Far Away News
yeah,
religiously, so I'm
yeah,
checking the website every day.
yeah, they do a lot of fun stuff. So just check
Yeah,
them out,
a
even
lot of
for
good
more
stuff.
than just news. So make sure you guys check them out. They're pretty awesome. So,
Hmm.
but our first story is that Bob Iger reasserts control as CEO of Walt Disney Company. Um, my first thought on this, and well, before we get into that, let me read you Bob's quote here. Uncle Bob, as Josh likes to call him.
Uncle Bob.
A crisis of this magnitude, and we're talking about COVID-19. A crisis of this magnitude and its impact on Disney would necessarily result in my actively helping Bob Chapek and the company contend with it, particularly since I ran the company for 15 years. So this is really a temporary thing for Bob. He's jumping in to kind of help guide the ship, because I mean not just Disney, but every company's out there. Every company out there is in a very awkward position at this moment in time
Hmm.
with everything going on, and Disney is no exception. We're talking delaying major productions. We're talking about moving release dates. We're talking about all of their parks being totally shut down, which doesn't happen ever.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think that's gotta be a major hit. Even the parks alone, that situation, you know.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So Bob's jumping in. He has the experience of a seasoned CEO at this point, and it's just a rough time to hand the company off to anybody. And I'm sure Bob Chapek isn't too upset that he'll have some help here. Um, but yeah, what do you think about this,
Yeah,
Josh?
yeah. Well, I mean, in my opinion, at least in recent memory, Bob Iger has been the best Disney CEO in my humble opinion, and I have a lot of faith and
I mean,
confidence in
Walt wasn't
him.
bad.
Well, I mean, in recent memory, I
Right,
wasn't
right.
around during those days, but yeah, Walt was pretty good. But yeah, Bob I think is great, and I was kind of talking to my wife. I was like, man, I was like, Bob Chapek's got to be like,
Yeah,
what a great great time to be
yeah,
in this new role. And I was like, I think we
yeah.
need Bob Iger back a little bit.
Yeah, he's probably wiping his brow a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
just a little bit.
whew.
So
Yeah,
I think it makes a lot of sense. I kind of
I think this was
thought
kind
maybe this
of
would happen.
yeah, yeah. I did too, and that's like back when Bob first announced that he was stepping down. It didn't feel like the end for me. Not that I knew that this was going to happen, because nobody could have predicted this. Um, but I knew it wasn't the end for Iger at that point, you know.
Right.
And I think this was maybe blown out of proportion a good bit also this week, because he's not taking back the company. He's stepping in to help out for a limited amount of time, and then I imagine he's going to go back to what his original plan was. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense.
yeah. So we have some casting news to talk about, and first is, it seems like we've talked about this every week, but why not talk about it again? Rosario Dawson actually broke her silence on the Ahsoka Tano news, and we don't have any confirmation, but we have some interesting quotes here.
I love her quotes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, we don't have confirmation, but if you can get like 1 degree below confirmation, I think this is probably it. So
I think this puts us at like 99%. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But she says that's not confirmed yet. But when that happens, I will be very happy. When that happens, I will be very
Yet,
happy.
yet, and when are the two
I'm
key words
I'm
there.
very excited for that to be confirmed at some point. So, um,
Hmm.
uh, and then she says it would be a 1,001% because of the fans. So, and like I said, that's a direct quote from Rosario Dawson. So, we have, like you said, yet we have when, and she said
Yeah.
she's excited for it to be confirmed at some point.
I'm
It's
sure
not,
it's one of those things like
yeah,
with you and McGregor, like just couldn't wait until the
yeah. Like he
information
talked
was.
about, he had to wait for so many years
Yeah.
before he could say something. Yeah,
And I'm sure this is the same kind of situation where Rosario is really excited about this
oh, I'm
role and she
sure, I'm
really
sure.
wants to talk about it, but she can't.
She's not really,
Um,
and she's not really politely shoving it aside like Ewan did, though. She's,
right.
you
She's
know,
just kind of a little more
you know,
obvious about it. Not
we're
not so subtle.
yeah, you know, whereas
Yeah.
Ewan would always say, I'm always open to coming back and that type of
Yeah.
stuff. She's saying, it's
Like,
not yet, but when it happens, I'm
not yet,
ready.
but when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, there's just as many people that might be upset that this role didn't go to Ashley Eckstein.
Hmm.
I think
And I
just as
understand
many
that.
I think just as many, if not more, have been pushing for Rosario Dawson in this role, and
Oh
I
yeah.
think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think Ashley will always be the voice of Ahsoka,
Hmm.
especially in animated Star Wars, and I mean, I think it has a lot to do with the physicality of the role and the look of the person being in
Sure.
the live action, and I think Rosario fits checks those boxes. And is it possible that Ashley could do a voiceover of Ahsoka for live action? I mean, it's possible. I don't
It's
know if that'll
possible.
happen.
I think that would be
Um,
less likely, especially if she's gonna
yeah,
spin this off into her own series. I don't think you'd want someone
yeah, I don't
voicing
think.
over Rosario for an entire series. But if it's only just for a cameo, then I can understand that. Kind of like the Maul thing in Solo.
Yes. So I don't think that'll happen, but
Right.
Ashley always has a very
You know,
important place in
I
Star
forget
Wars.
what show it was, and I feel bad because that means I can't credit it. But someone was saying, I was listening to another podcast, and someone was saying that Ahsoka has that younger Ahsoka look, and Rosario has that older Ahsoka look, which I totally buy into.
I
Uh,
think that makes sense
I
too.
think it
Yeah,
makes a lot of
because
sense. So,
yeah, yeah, because we have to think about the fact that this is post Return of the Jedi, um, and everything. And you know what? Um, I'm just so excited about the possibility of a Ahsoka series. Hopefully, I can only imagine that Dave Filoni would be the showrunner of that series as well. So
right, right.
yeah.
So, keeping with casting news, we've got casting Andor news, and I'm actually very excited for this one. And it's weird because I've been watching some Marvel movies, some of the early ones,
Hmm.
this week. But Stellan Skarsgård, if I hope I'm saying that right,
You got it. Yep.
nice, and Kyle Soller have both been cast for unspecified roles in the Casting Andor series. We don't have any details, but Variety, who broke this news, said that both actors are still in final negotiations for their roles. Um, I'm sure you're probably a lot more familiar with Kyle Soller.
Actually, I'm a lot more familiar with
I
Stellan
mean than I am,
Skarsgård.
because I'm really not familiar with Kyle
Yeah, I really
Soller at all.
I'm not I don't, he might have been in
Um,
something that I'm maybe not aware of, but he
okay,
he wasn't familiar to me.
okay, so
Um
I I'm I'm extremely excited for uh, Stellan Skarsgård
no,
though.
same
Yeah,
here.
that kind of caught me off guard a good bit. And even
Mhm.
if I'm not excited for casting Andor as a whole, I am extremely excited to see what he can do in a Star Wars role. Almost kind of like, and I'm blanking on his name, but the client, and
Yeah,
um, I kind of equate it
absolutely.
to that kind of role, that kind of
I'm
casting
with you.
anyway.
And Stellan Skarsgård was, I mean, he was Bootstrap Bill in Pirates of the Caribbean. That's correct, I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
And
yep.
and he was in the Marvel
The
films. What was the
Marvel
role?
series. He was. Oh geez,
I can't
I just
remember, but he
watched Thor
was,
the other day.
yeah. He was like a
It was
physicist or
Doc.
something
No,
like that.
yeah. He was. He was. Let me look it up
Now, while you're
because
looking
now
that
I
up,
have to look
Adam,
at it. He was. Go ahead.
I think the thing I might be most excited about is that he was also in Chernobyl. And
Oh, okay.
I know this show added, I forget if it was a cinematographer or
Maybe someone
writer
in
or
the chat will help me out.
something for Chernobyl, but they've also added Stellan Skarsgård, and he was brilliant in Chernobyl, and
Okay,
I can't
cool,
wait to see what he can do in this series.
excellent.
Hmm.
Anyone in chat know the name of Stellan Skarsgård characters in the Marvel movie? Thor, and he was in the first Avengers.
Avengers,
Yeah, yep.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully they
But
can
if
help us out in the chat.
Yep. Um, and I'm looking through Kyle Soller's IMDb credits, and
Hmm.
honestly, there's not a whole. I mean, he's been acting for a while. We have credits all the way back to 2010, but there's not a whole lot that I'm. There's a lot of TV stuff in here. Um,
Yeah,
Not a lot that I'm familiar with, but honestly, I don't watch a whole lot of TV anyway.
sure.
Um, so yeah, but some pretty cool casting there for casting Andor, which is nice.
Definitely.
All right, we are starting to get some May 4th news, which is exciting. May 4th is always a huge time around Star Wars, and we usually end up getting some deals, and that's some of the first news that we got this week. And what we're getting is special prices on the digital versions of the Star Wars movies. Disney is offering pretty much, and this is actually starting now, but they're offering each week a different set of movies with a particular theme, on digital and 4K, starting at just $4.99, which is a heck of a price. May the 4th, the week of May the 4th is Star Wars week, which means that every saga film, along with the 2 anthology films, will all be on sale. There's also a digital bundle of the Skywalker saga films, which is episodes 1 through 9, but not Rogue One and Solo. Those will all be on sale, and it's important to note that the press release says they start at $4.99, so I wouldn't expect every movie in there to be $4.99. I wouldn't expect
that's
The
what I
Rise
was
of
gonna say.
Skywalker to be
Right.
$4.99. But
Yeah, and I don't know if there'll be a difference in price between like the
mhm.
Blu-ray version and the 4K version or whatever, but
Hey, Jedi Fangirl has Dr.
yeah,
Eric
Eric
Selvig.
Selvig.
Nice.
That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
um, so yeah, starting at $4.99, the week of May the 4th. If you don't have any Star Wars movies in your digital collection, you want to round that out, that's a good time to do it. For me, I might be buying a lot.
Yeah,
Because
you know,
Rise of Skywalker was the first one I ever bought actually just digitally. Um,
mhm.
Everything else I've bought physical, and so it might be time for me to do that. So
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the price of the bundle will be,
yeah,
and
yeah.
if did you know I'm not sure if, because of course on Disney Plus we have all of the movies in 4K. I'm wondering if there's going to be a difference between like if you have the digital version versus what's on Disney Plus, like if the quality will be slightly better
Oh, yeah,
or
right.
not really discernible, and so
Yeah,
I'm curious about that.
yeah, yeah. That's a good question.
Hmm.
And the other thing about me, like the one reason why I haven't jumped into digital yet is because now with Disney Plus, I have them on 4K anyway.
Hmm.
But I'm also kind of at Disney's mercy there, I guess, because if they ever wanted to downgrade that quality, or if they
Yeah.
ever wanted to, if something ever happens to Disney Plus, and that,
Hmm.
then I don't have them. So
Sure.
I don't know, thinking about it, but that
Yeah.
might be my time to jump in.
Yep.
Black Squadron's hanging out in chat too, and they also told us Eric Selvig, so
Yes.
we
Thank you guys
appreciate
for
it.
the
Thank
help
you,
in the chat.
thank you. All right, so that brings us to some more May 4th news, and that is a new series on Disney Plus called Disney Gallery is going to start off on May 4th, which also happens to be the date of the last episode of Clone Wars. So we've got a lot happening on May
Mm.
4th
Oh yeah.
already, and between the end of Clone Wars and the start of this Gallery series. But the first Disney Gallery series is going to focus on The Mandalorian, and it's going to be an 8-episode documentary that goes behind the scenes into the making of the show. And then actually just today we got some descriptions of what the first 4 episodes of that will be. So episode 1 is going to be directing, and the synopsis here is: in the first episode, the filmmakers speak about their individual journeys on the way to the director's chair and take us inside the filmmaking process of The Mandalorian. Episode 2 is called Legacy. The team behind The Mandalorian examines the profound impact of George Lucas's Star Wars. Episode 3 is Cast. We have Pedro Pascal, Gina Carano, and Carl Weathers discuss the making of The Mandalorian. And then episode 4, which I think is the one that I'm really looking forward to, Technology. Favreau and team reveal how a new filmmaking technology was used to bring The Mandalorian to life. I am all game for a documentary series, and I have been saying for a while that I've wanted something like this
On Disney Plus,
on Disney
especially.
Plus,
Yeah.
especially for The
Hmm.
Mandalorian. It's kind of like
Yeah.
a special feature almost type thing.
Hmm.
Wasn't expecting an 8-episode series about it, but that's what we're getting, and
No,
that's pretty awesome.
it is. I'm of course extremely excited. I love behind the scenes stuff, and I'm so curious about what happened behind the scenes in The Mandalorian. We've seen bits and pieces of the technology that they're using and everything, um, and so I can't wait to see some more from behind the production of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Very pumped about this one.
Yeah, yeah. I was hoping for maybe like an hour-long documentary or something, behind the scenes, and
Right,
getting
but
this
now we
broken
might
down
get
into eight
even.
episds. That's
Yeah, and depending how long the episodes are, we might get more than an hour, I'm
yeah.
thinking,
Oh
so,
yeah, yeah. I would,
yeah.
I would, yeah. I mean, it's
Mhm.
kind of tough to tell with Disney Plus. They're a little weird on
Yeah.
their show lengths sometimes.
Right, right.
But yeah, so Yeah, very exciting. But
Yeah.
moving along, I wanted to drop this in here, and actually Josh wanted to drop this in here. I wasn't even gonna do it because it's a little weird talking about my own writing.
I absolutely was very excited for you, buddy, and
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I wanted to promote your first article on Far Far Away News, and I
Yeah,
think it has a lot of great stuff in there for during this time of kind of quarantining, I guess, and social distancing,
yeah,
and having things to keep you occupied at home.
yeah, and that's what my first article was all about, and it was Star Wars for families, fun ideas for staying at home. And it was basically just things that you can do outside of just watching movies and TV and the obvious TV shows. Stuff that you can do together as families. I have a few things in here you can read. I do have a few things you can watch. Some of the YouTube stuff, especially Star Wars Kids, and then some things you can do with your family, crafting and creating something that can last for a while, that you can have that memory with your family. So I'll include this link in the show notes so you guys can check out my article there, and see all those things that you can do, all those Star Wars themed things that you can do with your family while you're in quarantine. So
Yeah, make sure you check that out. There's a lot of great ideas in there.
cool, I appreciate it. Our
Hmm.
last news article is a little bit of an oddball, and it comes to us from Cinema Blend, and it's actually about The Simpsons. And
Yeah,
we're not gonna.
I'll be honest, Adam. When
Yeah,
I saw this in the outline
yeah.
for the show, I was like, did he accidentally put that in there? Did I accidentally put that in there? How did this Simpsons thing get in here? So, Adam, I'm going to need you to explain this whole Simpsons thing to me here.
Yeah, so I read this article, and immediately when I read the first quote in here, I was like, we have to talk about this real quick. Um, but this is actually Cinema Blend. Got to talk with a director and producer of The Simpsons, David Silverman, and they talked about a lot of things. They talked about coming under the